Okay, guys, this is Dave's LFC Chats, and I've got a legend with me today. An exclusive interview with legendary chef, TV personality, author. This guy does absolutely everything, and there's more to do. He's going to do everything. He's going to take over the world. It is Paul Treyvaud. How are you, Paul?
Dave, how you doing? Jeez, you make me sound like Pinky and the Brain there. What are we doing tomorrow, Pinky?
You can be the brain and Pinky.
How you doing, man?
Yeah, it's great having you on. I seen you on Liverpool Connection podcast with my mate Daz O'Connor. Big shit.
Yeah, that was great. That was great. Really enjoyed that.
And I said, I've got to get this guy on. He's a fellow Irishman like me. Both love Liverpool FC, which is obviously what we've got in common, other than being Irish. But I want to go backwards. I want to go back in time. I want to talk about a young Paul Treyvaud growing up. Your dad was Michel Treyvaud, the Swiss master chef. Is that right? What was it like in the Treyvaud household growing up with Michel Treyvaud?
Yeah, you have to understand this, Dave. It's a kind of what's the best way? The dad was a master chef back in the day when you actually had to earn your stripes, not when you did a 2-week TV show and came out with a title of master chef. So yeah, you actually old school. So dad would have worked 6 days a week in the different hotels or the restaurants where he was doing his apprenticeship. And on your day off, you weren't asked. You were just told. You didn't even have to be told because you knew you had to do it. You worked your day off for a year in the butcher to learn his trade. Then the next year you do go to the fishmonger. Then the year after you go down with the farmer. So there's no such thing as a day off, but that's what made you the master chef. And you had to have maybe 40 years experience under your belt before you were considered that. So it was a different world. Dad always tells me probably his greatest story of when he was learning in the apprenticeship. There's like, everybody knows what a split shift is. You know, you go in and you do a bit of breakfast or lunch prep, go away for an hour or two, come back then in the evening. But then there's the guard shift. That's the guy who works when everyone is gone on their splits. And Dad would always say that he was working in a very famous hotel up in St. Moritz in Switzerland, 5-star hotel, top of the range stuff. And there was an old, top range. So there was this old kind of executive head chef, master chef, you know, big long white hat and all that. And he had his famous stock pot in the middle of the kitchen. And nobody was allowed to look in the stock pot. It was the secret to all of his sauces, you know. So Dad was doing the guard one day with this other guy. And he said, come on, he said, we got to have a look. Maybe that's where I got a bit of my kind of rogueness from as well. He said, we have to have a look. But don't forget, this is going back in probably like the 40s, 50s, 30s, 40s, 50s.
You don't look that old, Paul.
I'll tell you one thing, I bloody feel it. After the last 2 seasons with Liverpool, I bloody feel it. But anyway, so Dad turns around to the other chef that he was with in the garden. He said, let's have a look in the stock pot. Let's see what he's doing. And he said, oh, we can't do that. You know, we can't do that. Anyway, long story short, lifted the lid and there was a bottle of whiskey. So that was all that was in his stock pot. He was just supping away. The master chef was this kind of raving alcoholic who'd be supping away in his whiskey all the time. So yeah, funny story. But like Dad, he cooked for Muhammad Ali, Elvis, Princess Grace, Frank Sinatra. No, I don't want to drop names, just stating facts. But
state the fact that Muhammad Ali, when I heard that story where Muhammad Ali obviously was in Ireland for that famous Croke Park fight and all, I wasn't even born. I think I was maybe 1 or something like that. But anyway, yeah, and tell me the story there. He only had steak, Muhammad Ali, is that right? Yeah,
so Ali fought in 72 in Ireland against a guy called Al Blue Lewis. It was a brilliant documentary done by a guy called Ross Whitaker, who was, you know, the guy who brought them in, the promoter, like, you know, basically, and he was saying, listen, you know, we're gonna sell out Croke Park, there's gonna be tickets sold and blah blah blah. And I think he only had maybe 500 or 600 tickets sold before the fight. He was, don't worry, the Irish always book late, you know, we'll fill up. Cut a long story short, they sold only a couple of thousand tickets, but Croke Park was absolutely wedged because what they forgot was, particularly the Kerry guys and the Dublin guys, been to Croke Park pretty much every single year. So they knew every nook and cranny, back door, which wall to hop over. So the place was wedged, but roll it back a few days and Ali arrived into a hotel called the Dublin Sports Hotel there in Kiltiernan. I don't know if you remember, we had the artificial ski slope going down the side of it. And it was owned by a man called Willie Opperman, who was very good friends with Dad. And Dad was the executive head chef in Jury's and Balls Bridge when it was Jury's and Balls Bridge, but kind of 5-star hotel.
Yeah.
He asked Dad, he said, listen, will you come out and cook for Ali? You know, the celebrity chef, even though there was none of that shite mentioned at all back then, but it was kind of come out and cook for the big celebrity that we have in town. So Dad went out, 3 days, breakfast, lunch and dinner, all Muhammad Ali was a 20-ounce T-bone steak, rare. That was it. No carbs.
I'm after my own heart.
When you think of the training regime and the nutrition that all professional athletes go through nowadays, Ali, 20-ounce T-bone steak, breakfast, lunch, dinner, carbs, no carbs at all. And he had these 6-pound lead boots and his cardio training was up and down that artificial ski slope during the day. So
70s. Listen, 70s was different level. Never mind the 80s or 90s. 70s. I mean, we're going back in time here. I was born in 73, so I wasn't even born.
I was the year after you. Yeah, the year after 74.
There you go. We're similar vintage, as they say.
It's like the Irish team there yesterday singing a song that they knew nothing about. But anyway, that's a whole other story.
I know. Actually, fair play to them for winning that. I mean, it's great to get them into the women's Irish soccer team. I presume you're talking about going to Australia and New Zealand, which they're going to be a diaspora there following them next year. That's going to be unbelievable.
You know, it's the greatest achievement. It's a pity it's been marred. I think the media have brought it down to that level, which is not a pity. We shouldn't take away greatest achievement ever in the history of Irish women's soccer. And it's phenomenal. And when you think what Vera Pauw has done, it's not too long that she's there. It's not too long that these girls were fighting, looking for their own kit, that they had to get changed in tracksuits that they were given in Dublin Airport, in the toilets in Dublin Airport.
Crazy shit, wasn't it?
Now we're up with the best of the best. I think what Vera has done with the Irish team is she's got them an awful lot fitter. She's put an awful lot of belief into them that they can go out and compete with the best. And we saw that last night against Scotland there, and or the other night against Scotland. And it's amazing when people turn around and say they're a great inspiration, you know, to all the young girls around the country. I don't believe in that. I think they're a great inspiration to everybody in the country, you know, whether it be boy, girl, you know, man, wife, whatever. Like, I think it's an amazing story. I can't wait. And forget about the nonsense that the media have tried to bring into it. I think we could talk about historical lessons for across the pond and vice versa. Maybe we should all go to school together. But it's an amazing achievement, and I have to admit, delighted. So proud of the girls. Brilliant.
All I can say is Vera Pauw. Wow, that's about it. You know what I mean?
All I heard was ooh ah Vera ah. That's all I heard in the change room.
I know. That's been literally taken out of context and everything else. But listen, hopefully that's gone, and all they concentrate is on Ireland doing well over there. And as I say, all the Irish and Australia and New Zealand, it's got to be crazy. It's got to be absolutely crazy over there.
I have a funny feeling there'll be a hell of a lot more over there next year as well. Funny feeling there'll be a massive crowd heading to Australia, New Zealand.
It'll be like 1990 in the World Cup in 1990 with Jack Charlton. Remember that, don't you?
Well, I even tweeted there the other day that, like, I don't think people realise, especially of the younger generation, Jack Charlton and the soccer team single-handedly ended a recession in this country. And we got everyone out into the bars, everyone out having a laugh, the feel-good factor, you know, the excitement of the whole football. When you think back to some of those matches, mother of God. And now, hopefully, we're going to do the same next year, that, you know, that excitement that's going to get going for next year. It's going to be brilliant.
You need excitement. And look, Liverpool for me and for you as well. That's we're both Liverpool fans. I think you were Liverpool fans since a very young age, 4 or 5, something like that. Really,
absolutely.
Your dad was a United fan. How the hell did that happen?
You know, it was funny because my next door neighbor, my best mate Rossi, we used to, like, we were back in the day where you know, it was always a no to a girl because you had a football at your foot. You know, you just went anywhere and everywhere. There was no big dual carriageways. There was fields out the back, so you were just kicking a ball all day. There was nothing else to do. There was no PlayStations. There was none of that kind of stuff. And we used to play football tennis over the wall all the time to each other. And he and his brother and the whole family were big Liverpool fans. And maybe that was that little bit of rebellion in me. And, like, you know, my father never turned around to me.
That hasn't gone away, Paul.
I know it hasn't.
It's only got worse.
I was going to say, many it's gone worse. Especially if you follow me on Twitter, you'll see I caused the odd bit of storm there, right? But so we were just there, and I just went, I think I was maybe 3, 4, 5 max. I can't remember the exact, but I just went, I love Liverpool, and just always have been ever since. I've read ever since.
I mean, a lot of the younger fans, I call them TikTok fans, by the way. I think it's more being sarcastic than anything when they're on Twitter and giving out about Liverpool if they draw a game or they let in a goal or someone makes a mistake. You know, you haven't got a clue. But, you know, we're both 70s boys, 80s. Liverpool in the 80s were just dreamland. I know you're a big fan of the likes of John Barnes, as I am, and Jan Molby, Ronnie Whelan. This level, Alan Hansen, Mark Lawrence. You think what we grew up as kids watching that team win everything.
Absolutely.
You couldn't but not love Liverpool, really.
We were just a class act. I remember I had my kids over in Anfield there. It was a few years back. And we this is before they changed, where the bus used to come in underneath the tunnel and you could actually get access to underneath that tunnel yourself on the stand. And I was looking, and I was there, and the kids were kind of going, you know, what are you doing that? And I said, your man over there. I said, well, geez, it can't be him. And anyway, all of a sudden he went into the player's entrance, and I went up to the security guy. I said, please tell me that wasn't Jan Molby. I said, one of my, because I used to just model my passing. I used to play football as well myself. And I used to model my passing on his technique, the way so many kids will move the body swerve, the way Thiago's playing at the moment. And he said, yeah, it was. I said, oh my God, he's one of my all-time favorite players. And they said, he should come up. He was, you know, does photos, he does signatures and everything. I said, I can't believe it. So we were heading off. It was Liverpool versus Arsenal, actually, now that I think about it. And we drew 3-3 in the end. We went 2-0 up. 3-2 down. I think it was Alan who got the third goal. And
Alan.
that's it. Yeah, I know. Yeah, say no more. But I'm walking off, and next minute the security guy grabs me by the shoulder again. He goes, "Is it just you and the two kids?" And I went, "Yeah." And he goes, "Stay here." So all of a sudden I was going, "All right, grand." Next minute, like, they put up all the barriers and all the stuff, and we're on the inside of the barrier with maybe 20 other people maximum. And next minute the bus arrives, and out gets Jurgen, and out gets all the boys. And I'm just going, oh my God. And the kids, like, as I said, I'm trying to think years back, it's probably 6-7 years ago, maybe even a bit more. And so the kids were like, maybe 7, 8, 9, 10. And they're just like looking at their heroes coming off the bus. Yeah. And I'm thinking back to the day when I was maybe the same age as my eldest kid that day, and Liverpool played Ireland in a challenge match in Lansdowne Road, the Aviva, as it's known in modern money. And Dad was the executive head chef in Jury's, and the Liverpool team were staying in Jury's hotel. So I came back with my best mate there, Rossi. We went into the kitchen, had a chicken and chips, and next minute Dad and the security guy brings us up the lift, up into the penthouse. And you've got all the boys, your Jan Mulbys, your Ronnie Whelans, your John Works. You've just got all these guys, Alan Hansen, you just go, oh my God. You're sitting there with the team. Incredible experience. So slightly better experience by getting to meet them and high-five them. But my kids are, shouting, "Hi, Jurgen," and he turned over. No, it was amazing.
It's brilliant. It's absolutely brilliant.
Fantastic.
And I mean, the level they're at, every day they get that, but they're still the same. 90% of the time, it must be very hard being a really celebrity. What's it like, Paul?
Yes, I tell you, I'd be happy now for half of that.
Sorry, not today.
Jeez, I wish. Do you know what? It's funny. Like, in the restaurant, we've had some serious, well-known people in there.
This is the question I was going to ask you. We have to talk about Treyvaud's restaurant in Killarney.
That's right.
Yourself and your brother run the restaurant. It's a top-of-the-range restaurant. What type of food do you do there? What cuisine?
So what we try to say is we go high-end with none of the fuss and not the price tag either. So, so we get the best of quality. We're blessed in Ireland, obviously, but Kerry more so again. We got the finest of lamb, fish, beef, literally on our, I was going to say our doorstep, but on our mountainside. And we've got some amazing produce. So we've got the rats of lamb, we got lovely halibut, we got great, beautiful, beautiful fish. But we kind of said, listen, we want to pitch it at a price that's not overly expensive, but we also want people to come in and, so some guys will say, what do I need to wear? I say, you can come in your underpants as long as you bring cash. I don't care. I mean, just come in and relax and enjoy the night. That's
the experience though, isn't it?
Absolutely. A lot of people think, and this is just my own opinion, like I'm trying to think how long I'm in the industry. Maybe over 30 years now, this age, maybe probably about 35 years in the industry. A lot of people think it's all about the food, and it's not. Yes, of course that's important, but you'd be amazed what people pick up on. It's obviously the service as well. I mean, that's another big factor. It's the background music, it's the cleanliness of the toilets. It's just the simple little things that people, really, really enjoy. Like as you said, it's all about the experience. So if they walk out the door of Treyvaud's in Killarney and go, I want to go back there, then that's job done. That's the way we look.
Plus, I want to tell my friend to go back there. That's even better.
Yeah, absolutely, 100%. Yeah. So no, we're looking
at the old Irish thing. It's word of mouth, really, isn't it? I mean, before Instagram, before Facebook, before Twitter, it was all about Instagram. You're in a pub. Geez, that's a great pub on a Saturday night. You tell your mate, no mobile phones. You all end up there. That's what it's about.
Absolutely. As I say, you can buy any award. You can buy any position on the likes of a TripAdvisor. You can buy any of these kind of things. But you can't buy word of mouth. And that's why I always say, if I go into a town, I'll probably have a look at TripAdvisor, but I take the reviews with a pinch of salt because they can be manipulated by either competitors or by the owners themselves. But if you're having a pint in town and there's a barman and you say, listen, where do you go to eat? And he goes, I go here, they do the best.
Yeah.
Water.
Yeah.
Fantastic. That's me happy.
That's the trick. Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. Also, I'd like to talk to you about, obviously, Liverpool. But I mean, we mix in between Liverpool life and food and stuff like that.
Absolutely.
Who's the most famous person you've ever made a meal for at your restaurant?
Oh, crikey. That's a great question. We've had quite a few. We've had Samuel L. Jackson. We've had Hugh Grant.
Samuel L. Jackson's a Liverpool fan.
Yeah. I have a what do you call it, a wall just as you're coming in with all the pictures. And I actually met Samuel L. Jackson. He was at the Pro-Am for Tiger Woods and JP McManus. Jeez, I'm trying to think years ago. I'm getting old. I can't remember, but not the one just gone, the one before that. and everybody was going to either the tee box or the green. Actually, I'll tell you a funny story. We were arriving up there and I was with my father-in-law, a very good friend of mine who's also my solicitor, and another guy. 4 of us in the car, and we're going through the program. Who would you like to meet? And I said, there's only one guy I want to meet. It says Samuel L. Jackson. He's just the coolest dude on the planet. And my father-in-law says, well, actually, I'm very good friends with Michael Flatley. My father-in-law is an
Michael Flatley,
Yeah, and Michael was looking to buy property down here before. And we were all talking about who we wanted to meet. So anyway, I said, listen, judging by the time we get up here, I reckon Samuel L. Jackson is teeing off on the 12th. And I said, and he can hit the ball an average distance of a drive. I was looking on Google around 230 yards at the time or whatever. I said, so everyone will be at the tee box or everyone will be at the green. I'm going to wait 230 yards down the middle of the fairway. Nobody there. But hopefully he's going to land his ball somewhere around there. So the father-in-law says, and judging by my timing on this, I reckon Michael Flatley is actually finishing the last hole. So as we get out of the car, sure as hell, there's Flatley. I won't mention any names, but with probably one of the most well-known English professional golfers and another kind of celebrity guy on the tree ball. And all these kids came up on the green and turned around, asked the celebrity golfer, can we get your autograph? Can we get your autograph? And he goes, lads, I told you, playing a competition. I'm not signing any autographs today. This is a pro-am, for Christ's sake. It's a charity gig. So I'm walking up towards the green with my father-in-law to meet Michael Flatley. I say, your man's name, your son, prick. I said, would you sign the kid's autograph? For God's sake, they're here to see you, whatever. Everybody stops and goes, what the hell? And my father-in-law turns around and he goes, Michael, how's it going? He goes, oh my God, Sean, how are you? I'm telling the pro golfer to shut up and sign the autograph. And the 80-year-old father-in-law is hugging Michael Flatley in the middle of the green. It was just priceless. Anyway.
I'm surprised Michael Flatley didn't do a bleeding dance, a jig.
An absolute gent. He'd be a great guy. So anyway, we roll on about maybe 15, 20 minutes. I'm heading towards where Samuel L. Jackson's teeing off. There I am waiting in the middle of the fairway, and sure as hell, he nails the ball pretty much down to where I was waiting. And he's on the far side of the fairway. So he's coming down, I'm waving like this, and he all of a sudden waving back at me. I said, any chance of a photo, Samuel, any chance? So he comes over, takes a photo. I've got my father-in-law with me. He's got the worst phone on the planet taking the picture of the two of us. Yeah, I'd say it's probably the one before that. And there it is the nicely framed up on the wall of the restaurant. So we got loads, we got maybe 60, 70, but we had another guy in. I'm ranting here now, you'll have to tell me to shut up, but this guy comes in, beautiful woman comes in, and she goes, do you have a table? I have no reservation. I said, I've only got the worst table left in the world. I said, listen, it's right up there by the kitchen, and actually we're all going to be walking in there. Do you want to go for a pint across the road? And I'll come back to it. She goes, no, that's perfect. And I said, are you sure it's not a great table? She goes, perfect. I said, all right, I'll tell you what, I'll buy you a drink for sitting there. So she arrives in. 2 minutes later, this guy arrives in, and he's looking around. I said, you're not with the good-looking blonde up there? And he says, yeah. And I said, listen, I tried to tell her it's the worst table in the restaurant. If you want to go for a pint, I'll have another one in about 20 minutes. And he goes, no, that's perfect. It's absolutely perfect. They sit down, they have their meal. I'm walking past them 100 times throughout the night. They get up and they leave, and the table beside me turns around and goes, oh my God, Cillian Murphy, what an actor. And I said, he was the image of him, wasn't he? And he goes, no, that was him. He's down filming the party. So we've got a lot of famous pictures up on the wall, but we've had one or two that didn't know who they were walking out the door.
What was the story I seen you were on television? I think it was the Brendan O'Connor show a few years ago, talking about Tom Cruise following you on Twitter or something. What was that about?
Yeah, it's mad. So I'm there, tweeting away. I got a pretty good, decent following on Twitter, and unlike a lot of other people, all mine are legit. There's none of these buy 5,000 followers or any of that kind of stuff.
I even follow you on Twitter now. That's
I followed you back.
There's a lot of blue ticks around. That's the problem.
A lot of ticks, full stuff. But it's gas. When people ask me and they turn around and say, how has this celebrity guy got 100,000 followers and they only get 1 or 2 likes? And I said, they're all bought. They're bots. They don't exist. I said, well, there's all my followers. They're all, I mean, I got it. Especially today, yesterday I put out a tweet. Got a huge reaction anyway. But so yeah, all of a sudden I'm there. Next minute, bing, and I go right and go, Tom Cruise. And I went, hang on a second, lads. Hang on a second. So I'm looking at this and I go, it is Tom Cruise. I can't remember. He's got 10.5, 12 million followers or something like that. And he's only following.
He's got the blue tick.
Got the blue tick. So he's only following maybe 30,000 people or something like that. So it's not like where you see these guys, I have 200,000 followers, but I'm following 198,000 just so they get to follow back kind of stuff. I'm going, this is absolutely bizarre. That was it. So I've got him. There's Jamie Oliver. There's a couple of other big names there that are following me. And actually a great bit of banter with Jamie Oliver over the years. I did an online competition that was done by Simon Cowell. It was basically Britain's Got Talent, but the world's got talent on YouTube. And they did all these different categories. So there was singers, bands, all this kind of stuff. And then one of them was cooking. So I got runner-up on that, and Jamie Oliver turns around, and that's where the Brendan O'Connor show came out of, because he turns around and goes, I have no idea how to pronounce this guy's name. Well, I'm telling you, this Treyvaud fella is one to watch. I think he called me Treyvaud or Treyvaud or whatever. I didn't give a shite. He called my name, and that's all that mattered. So then the RT or the Saturday night show picked up on that with Brendan O'Connor and invited me on. Yeah, so it's mad. Brilliant experience now, I have to admit.
Do you know what as well? obviously the shows you have Treyvaud's Kitchen, Treyvaud's Travels, you've books, you're an author. I mean, you've done it all.
Yeah.
But you're hoping to maybe get them distributed into the States and Canada?
Yeah, so what happened there, it's been going on for the last 3 or 4 months. I've learned from experience to say nothing until the actual dotted line is signed. So I kept it quiet there until only last week, actually. So a major distribution company over in New York, Janssen Media, signed me up. They've signed on the first series of the travel series and the kitchen series. It's going to be distributed to major streaming platforms throughout the States, Amazon Prime, a couple of other ones. They also have a large cooking streaming platform themselves where they've got a lot
like
of
the Food Network or one of them.
Yeah, something similar to that. I think it's called Hungry, not .com or .net, but it's Hungry TV or something like that. And there's a lot of very well-known TV chefs that are on it. Some of them are kind of like going by, I don't know if you ever remember this guy, Martin Yen. He used to be on RT, Chinese guy or Asian guy, to be careful what you say these days. But he turns around and he's like, oh, if Yen can cook, you can too. He was on RT.
Was he not American?
I think he was American,
He was American.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, I do remember him. He was
I loved him. We used to watch him every Saturday morning because he was so simple. He was a character. He was always like laughing, big smiles. So he's on it and all these kind of different, you'd know them when you see them. So I said, look, this is an amazing opportunity. And I have season 2 of both series filmed. I haven't got them produced and edited and put together. And they're looking for the exclusivity on that. And I said, look, let's just see how this one pans out. And fingers crossed it all goes well. And it'll be the start of a big relationship. Because Ireland, it's, how do we say it? If you're not in the click, you're not getting on the TV. You're not getting on the channels. Particularly one channel in particular. And so that's why I was on the other channel. And so
Virgin, you're on Virgin Media.
Virgin, yeah. And Virgin had this big deal with the UK where they're buying in most of UTV and ITV's content. So that's your Hampton Decks and your Emmerdales and Carnations. And the way it works in Ireland as well is that you need a certain amount of original Irish content in order to get part of the broadcasting fee or the TV license fee. And that's made up on Virgin with Ireland AM, the news, the Tonight Show, all that kind of stuff. So they fulfill their Irish content. That's why it's much harder to get onto it now than, beforehand you'd be pitching Irish shows. And that's why you see very little Irish content coming on, unless it's in-house Virgin content that's going on. But RTE it just seems to be a close shop. You know what you're going to have to do? You're going to have to do a Mrs. Brown, boys. You're going to have to do a Father Ted. You're going to have to, and that's why I just said, listen, let's just concentrate on the States, see how that works. And touch wood, we've landed, I wouldn't say a jackpot, but we've landed a potential big deal here. So
no, brilliant. And hopefully it works out well for you, man.
Thanks a million. Appreciate that, Dave.
But look, let's talk about the Reds. I mean, let's talk about Jurgen Klopp in particular. He came in October 2015, which was just 7 years ago last week, I think it was. I've always said this guy has like Shankly DNA. He's one of the closest there is. Shankly was obviously when we were kids. I mean, Shankly. But I mean, I don't remember much about Shankly myself. But listening to him, watching old video footage of him, the way he talks, the way he stands, the presence he has, you'd listen to him all day. I was going to say he could be a politician. He's actually better than that. But you know what I mean. But you know what I mean? He's a great orator is what I'm saying. And he'll hold, he'll say the right thing and he'll give you that hug. I'd love a hug off Jurgen. You would do. But what's your thoughts on Jurgen before we get into the team? But Jurgen himself as a manager.
Look, I'm not going to lie. I love the guy. If ever I had a man crush, it's Klopp. I just think it's not that he can do no wrong, but he can do no wrong. It's just like you said. He says all the right things. He's so quick-witted. It's as if he knew the question was coming before the question came, because you just kind of go, Jesus, that could have taken me half an hour to come out with that perfect answer. He nailed it all the time. I think he reminds me, and it's probably based on Jurgen Klopp, is the Ted Lasso figure. I don't know if you've seen it on TV shows. He's an amazing. I coach kids, and I always say the most important thing as a coach, in my opinion, is to get into the head of your players. If you can get into the heads of your players so that the kids or the professionals are walking out on that pitch going, I'm going to go out and nail that opposition because my coach has me in that way. And that's what Klopp's greatest. When you see some of the stuff that's coming out, Klopp out and all that kind of stuff, like as you said, they're the TikTok guys, they're the Man City fans, they were here 2 years, they'll be going off supporting the next team in another few years.
They're just idiots.
I don't think they realise the enormity of the club and what it means to be an actual Red. Yeah. And it's like everything. It's like my own club. You take the defeats like you take the victories, and you move on to the next game. And that's what I love about professional football. They always say the only thing in professional sport is the result. So if we play the worst game we've ever played, and we're giving out about this, and we're giving out about that, and you hear these guys giving out, and we won 1-0, who gives a damn how we played? We've won 1-0. we've moved on to the next game. And that's but when you bring up stuff on your, it's all right to slag Harry Maguire now first, but when you bring up, yeah, but when like, you know, when you see these fans going on about how is he doing this and Klopp doesn't know what he's on about. Klopp doesn't know what he's on about. You're sitting on the couch talking shite. This is Jurgen Klopp, one of the most, defined success. In my opinion, he's one of the most successful managers ever, where he brought Liverpool to where we are now. He has all the real fans back believing. He has us believing so much that we're really disappointed. We're really upset that we're not there again at the moment, at this season. I think there's a long way to go. I wouldn't be ruling us out just yet. I know Klopp said, look, the league is gone. We've been 12 points behind the leaders before, and we've put it up to them at the end of the season. It's a long, long way to go.
But the big things of Klopp, obviously, it took him a while to get going. When we got going, he had a lot to change. He had to change the psychology. He had to get us from doubters into believers. The new training ground change from Melwood to Kirby. That's a huge 50, 60 million pound job there from FSG. A lot of people slag FSG. They've invested in the ground. The new St. Annie Road end will be finished by next season, an extra 8,000 seats. Around the ground is totally transformed in the last 10 years. If you look back to Hicks and Gillette in 2010, and we were in trouble. We were in deep. We were a sinking ship. We were literally. Klopp comes along in 2015, a little dingy, a boy. He hadn't got much. He came in, and he's basically turned us into a cruise liner. Let's be real. 100%.
And we had zero expectations of the guy coming in. When you look at other clubs bringing in their big managers and they've got these huge, this guy's going to do this. And maybe that's too much pressure for the manager coming in these clubs. Did we really know Jurgen Klopp? Of course, we knew of Jurgen Klopp, but did we know he was going to transform Liverpool the way he did? No. And let's face it, such a short period of time. So, as I said, it's the point there now that if we don't win, and even when we beat Rangers there, not last night 7-1, the week before when we beat them 2-1, yeah. So we were disappointed it was only 2, but I was delighted because I said, look at Nunes, he's made every right run, he's made every right angle. The ball just didn't come to him, just got a bit of a dodgy bounce. But he did the hard work. The brain is there. This kid is something to look forward to. I think this guy's going to be special. And then all of a sudden you see Mo banging in like the quickest hat-trick ever. He's kind of going, oh my God, Mo, you're back. It was just brilliant to see.
His mojo is back. But the thing about last night I really liked about when people slagging Darwin, the first half, it was a game of two halves. A classic cliche. We weren't good in the first half. Yeah. Bobby got us into it with that header. We didn't have many chances. We took our chance. I was delighted going in at 1-1 because I thought we could have been losing that game. And it's psychological. It's psychological. You can play crap and go in losing 2-1, like the Arsenal game. We got back into it. And let away that silly, silly goal before halftime. That lost us the game. That goal just before halftime because the team talk changes.
Yeah, absolutely.
The team talk changes. But I knew second half Rangers. Look, it's a different league. Rangers. It is only Rangers, but still. 7-1 away from home. I think it's our biggest Champions League win away from home. Salah, quickest hat-trick in Champions League history. 6 minutes, 12 seconds. He could have had 4. But bigger than that for me, I think Liverpool obviously winning the league. We go back in time, winning the league in 2020, first time in 30 years. The amount of slagging I've got that you haven't won the Premier League. You haven't won the league. I'm sure you got it yourself, especially United fans.
Absolutely.
I think that was huge. And the Champions League the year before.
Yeah, all my United friends, fan friends were, say, oh, your Wi-Fi's back working the year we won the league. I say, oh, we're hearing from you now. But look, I love the banter we have with the Man United fans. And that's why some of my best mates are Man United fans. And
same here. Yeah,
I think this is the first season that we're both afraid to slag each other in case the worst performance comes the following week from our own team. So we're keeping a bit stumped with each other. But, when you think about winning that league, to get that off your back, and I think, people are saying, what's wrong with Liverpool? Don't forget the amount of game time we've played over the last few years.
63 games.
It's insane. It's absolutely. We played every game possible last season. Every game possible. No other club can say that. And we're getting slags. We're going, hang on a second, lads. We were at everything. We were there all the time. And it's also when people are wondering what we're doing wrong at the moment. I don't think it's what we're doing wrong. We have our system. People now know our system. They know the kind of football that we're playing. I think we're tired. I think psychologically as well, I'm a firm believer of sports psychology. To have done so well by getting so far, but not getting over the finishing line in 1 or 2 seasons has this, team going, God almighty, what the hell do we have to do to win? I think there's also a little bit of that. But as I said, I think we're a very dangerous team. We proved that last night. I said, okay, I know it's Rangers. Probably if myself, yourself, and 9 other guys were, that are watching this podcast or listening to the podcast, there's a chance we put it up to Rangers too, let's face it. But it's what we did. It's how we did it. It's the mentality we showed. Like if we had done that 2-3 years ago and walked off, at Hampden Park 7-1 up, we go, yeah, Liverpool, we're on fire. We did it last night, and now we're saying, yeah, but it's only Rangers. We were on fire last night, and Mo's hat could have been quicker if he didn't stand on that ball for that 1 second. But it was just a thing of beauty.
Didn't matter.
Yeah, the brain is back. Mo is back.
Yeah.
Look, I was delighted with Bobby's performance. I love Thiago. I absolutely, if I don't have a man crush on Klopp, I have it on Thiago. He is just a stunning player. And even it's a simple thing. It's stupid things as a Liverpool fan that you pick up on your team. I was watching them before the match. All the kind of ball boys and ball girls were standing there in front. The teams were lined up behind him. Thiago takes off his jacket and puts it over. It was a girl in front of him, puts it over to keep her warm. And I just went, how much is this guy on? How much of a god is this guy? How much of a professional? And that's the mentality. He's
got kids. He's got young girls, I think.
Absolutely. So, and that's why you love Liverpool. It's a family club. It's just, it's just
a family club. Yeah, absolutely.
Over in Anfield yourself. It's just the atmosphere, the family vibe that's there. That's why I love Liverpool.
But just look, I mean, even last year we were basically 2 kicks away from winning the quadruple, which has never been done before. I thought we were unlucky in the Champions League final. I mean, you could talk about that Mane chance. I mean, Courtois had a game of his bloody life.
Yeah.
I mean, he pulled at least 3 saves where one of them goes in. I think Liverpool win the bloody game. You know that way?
Yeah, 100%. Yeah, totally agree. And it's frustrating, but look, it's like when I'm coaching the kids, if we get to a quarter final of a cup, if we get to a semi-final of a cup, you just turn around and say, lads, like my own young fellow was playing a Gaelic match there last week in school. We came off and said, do you know what, Dills, it's not often. There was quarterfinals of the schools. I said, it's not often I say this. I said, but beaten by a better team there. And you kind of, okay, right, you've done as far. So, but we weren't beaten by a better team. 1 or 2 little things, yourself, the rub of the green, the bounce of the ball.
Yeah.
It's a different result. And it's frustrating because we were expecting so much. And that's a sign of a brilliant club, that you're upset that you lost the Champions League final, as opposed to saying, oh, we made the Champions League final. And that just shows, I think the passion that real Liverpool fans have for their team.
No, you're absolutely right. And having a double whammy of the fact of, I mean, City were 2-0 down against Villa in the last day of the season.
Yeah.
I know we were only drawn at the time, I think 1-1 against Wolves.
Yeah.
For Villa to come back and get 3 goals in 15 minutes. City to come back and get 3. I was like this. Yeah. Oh my god!
And then our boys start screaming in our match because somebody turned around and said there's been an equaliser.
Yes, that's right.
Oh, Jesus, check the phone. What the hell's going on? And you go, oh, it's still 3-2. It was just, it's like, that's the difference of us, as you said, winning the quadruple last season. It's mad, absolutely mad. But I think there's still...
it's probably hard for you to get off to Anfield with your job and living in Killarney and stuff, and you're up to your eyeballs, especially with COVID in the last 2 years. You haven't even had your bloody place open. How did you cope through COVID? I did hear you on the radio once or twice, by the way.
Yeah, I was giving out.
I heard you, Niall Boylan, I think it was. Classic Hits, was it?
Yeah, no, in fairness, and Niall was one of the few guys who actually let me talk. So, I mean, look, COVID affected a lot of people in a lot of different ways. And I was never a COVID denier. I was never anti-vaxxer. But I was just asking questions. And I was going, look, if you answer my question, guys, I go away because you're telling me to follow science, but it looks like I have to follow your science. So you've got a highly educated, qualified doctor saying X. There's a guy over here who's just as qualified, if not more qualified, saying Y. And we're not allowed to debate. And that was what was always getting to me. Why are we always interviewing these guys one-on-one? Why is there nobody in our... by the way, doctor, can I ask this simple question? And there's a great thing about the pictures of the queues over in China for the COVID testing. We thought we had it bad. What's going on over there? Mother of God. Anyway, there's huge queues upon queues upon queues. You're talking like hundreds of thousands of people at the COVID test, all standing right beside each other. And then they get in and it's all social distancing. And it's like when you sit down in the restaurant, you got to have the mask on when you stand up, but you have to take the mask off when you sit down. If you have a €9 hot dog, then you're fine because COVID knows you're eating, so it doesn't come near you. If you're staying the night in a hotel, you're grand, don't worry, COVID knows you're staying the night. Now it's just none of this makes sense. And what we're doing, and this is where it was really frustrating, so what we're doing here is going to lead to an absolute destruction of an industry. We're going to have no staff in our industry. We're going to have people that are going to be chasing their debt. And some people might say it's all part of the plan. I don't go down those rabbit holes myself. But it's true what's happened. Like 2 years on, like our industry is absolutely like destroyed.
Decimated, yeah. A lot of pubs closed as well.
Yeah.
Pubs never opened.
Yeah, and these are bars and restaurants that we kind of know of. There's a lot of bars and restaurants that are closed that wouldn't have had a high profile or a higher profile. Maybe people that were only there maybe a year or 2 or 3 years have gone, and they're gone under the radar. Nobody knows that they've actually closed down. And I mean, me personally, we're lucky we're there 20 years. So what I did was I kept the whole team on because I said to myself, look, so I had two options. Let the guys go and they go claim their PUP.
You never get them back.
Exactly. Or keep them on and I get their wage subsidy and pay their wage. So I probably got maybe 80% of their wage, 70 to 80% of their wage back. I said, but at least I've kept my team. So I said, because like, don't forget, for 9 months in the restaurant industry, we had no idea when we were going to be opening up again. So we'd wake up on a Monday and go, any news, lads? Anything? And you're here now.
Don't worry, I was following it.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
It was an anger more than anything because we weren't allowed to ask the questions. But I'm looking at a shop, and don't get me wrong, I'm looking at a shop and I'm seeing 500 people walk into a shop, leaning over each other to take the carrots or going over here to get the socks or the underpants off. And I'm going, I can't have 10 people in. I have an 80-seater restaurant. I can't have.
There was contradictions all over the shop. I mean, he didn't know what they were doing half the time, did he? I mean, my big take. I mean, obviously, I work for Toyota in car business, but the thing for me was, I was in my local pub. I live in Glasnevin near the Botanic Gardens, if you know it.
Right. And
I was in my local one night. Now this is about 20. It was just late 21 when they closed down again. Remember they closed just before Christmas, and they had to have the pubs closed by 7 or 8 o'clock or something. Do you remember that?
COVID had a watch.
With me 3 mates. I had a pint of Heineken, and I'd probably be 3/4 into Heineken. So I asked, the lounge girl came over. Now it was about 45 minutes before 7 o'clock, and I said, "So can I have 2 Heinekens?" She went, "Sorry, you can only have a pint. You're only allowed to have This is 7 o'clock in the day." I was like, "This has to be a podcast sometime. No one will believe me in 10 years." Like, what?
Yeah. We'll be telling the real history to our grandkids if they came out and said, "Listen, Paul, listen, Dave. This was a first for us. We had no idea how to react. As the head guy in the CMO of this country, I had to do what I had to do to cover my ass. And what I did was possibly a bit wrong. If the Taoiseach turned around and said, listen, I had to do what he said in order to cover my ass, because if things went pear-shaped, I went, well, I'm not a doctor, but he is, so I had to do what he said. And if we followed the trickle down, look, we all had to do to cover our own ass, we got some things wrong, I would turn around and say, I'll vote for you tomorrow, guys. But to be trying to cover it up again and to be trying to deny and try and say, yeah, we did an amazing job. They didn't do an amazing job. We're seeing, and it's only the tip of the iceberg, we're seeing now what a 2-year lockdown is doing to mental health.
Mental health, yeah.
But there's people,
huge.
There's people, you know, and I know, there's people drinking 3, 4, 5 bottles of wine a night at home because they're never going to go out again. And they're just kind of going, I'm just going to sit in here and I'm just going to, because they've gotten used to it. And they're just, and that's
something did change. It took me a while to go back to the pub, say on a Friday or Saturday night. It just didn't seem, it took a while, it took about 6 months for it to feel right. It just didn't feel right. I don't know what it was, but it was nice to hear. I have to say, one night I went down with my friend, just a few quiet, maybe 3, 4 pints, sitting at the bar. I remember you weren't allowed to sit at the bar, so I was sitting, I made a pint. I don't usually sit at the bar, but I actually made a pint. I was sitting in a famous bar in Drumcondra called Fagan's.
I know it very well.
I'm a Drumcondra boy, so I sat at the bar having a beer, and I said to your man, do you know what's so nice about here tonight? It was a Tuesday night. He goes, what? I said, that noise in the background. The clicking of glasses, the barman talking to your man beside you. There was only about 15 people there, but that had been missing for about 18 months.
Do you know how good it was?
Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, well, it was so good you actually appreciated other people's farts because you hadn't smelt them in 2 years. You turned around and you went, oh my God. I said, oh my God, it's not my own. Someone in there, that waned off after a couple of weeks or a couple of days, but it was just great to be back. And it just shows, like we are creatures, that thrive on social, interaction with friends and family and all that kind of stuff. And it's, look, I hope we never go back there. I hope we never go back. You hear them talking about monkeypox and all this kind of stuff. And I hope we never have to go through any of that.
I don't think so.
I think we're all right.
That's another podcast.
That's what we're talking about, Man United.
Exactly. Look, before we go, we'll talk about the game, obviously, on Sunday, which is against Manchester City, the champions, rolling up to Anfield, 4:30 on Sunday. I'm gonna bottle the confidence from last night. I know it was Rangers, we said that, but you have to bottle that second half. I think if we can bottle a percentage of that second half, the Mo Salah hat-trick, the Darwin Núñez trying, not letting it go to his head, and that lovely little finish. And Bobby, like a new Bobby we have here now. And he was joking when he came on.
That flick that he did, unbelievable. Yeah, so I think, here's my kind of analogy of what's going on in Liverpool.
Yeah.
I severed my cruciate a long time ago. And I don't care whether you're playing Sunday League football or if you're playing Premier League football. It's the worst injury in the world. Anyone who's done a knee injury will know. Every step, every kick, every tackle you go into after that, there's a little monkey brain in your head going, oh, Jesus, oh, be careful. Oh. I think Verge has a little bit of that because it was a horrific injury. I think what City has done, you turn around like great managers. I think what Pep is a great manager. He's one of the few managers I know who turned around and brought in a player and said to the rest of the team, we're playing to this guy with Haaland. It's not like he had to come in and they said, listen, you need to fit into our team. The whole team has to work with him. He's lethal. He's absolutely, if he's bought for 50 million, how much is the kid worth now? Mother of God, it's frightening to think what he is. But you're right, the confidence that we have. We were so unlucky to lose to Arsenal. And they're on top of the league flying. We were a handball away. We were a dodgy penalty away from drawing, if not beating Arsenal. So we are at that level. It's not that we're not at that level this season. We are at that level. I think you've nailed it on the head there. The confidence is very, very high after that drumming of Rangers the other day. We know it was Rangers, but we did everything right. And if we bring that mentality and that work rate, and Klopp will want more than anything than to get one over on City. So, look, we could walk off the pitch losing 6-0, but I'm going into that game a hell of a lot more confident than I would have been 2 weeks ago, a week ago, even 4 or 5 days
Tuesday.
ago. Yeah.
You know what I mean? But I mean, it's like life. It's like everything. Like even in the restaurant game you're in or whatever. Everything's psychological, really. Even football, we said it earlier. It's 90% psychological. If you go into a game saying, listen, I'm not afraid of these. I mean, not Liverpool won't be. I mean, we're up against an Oil State. We're up against an Oil State basically here. I mean, for Liverpool to be on their coattails, get them, come within a point twice of winning the league, beating winning the league, and been right up their arses basically for the last 4 or 5 years.
Absolutely.
This league being a bloody farmers league. Let's be real. Liverpool they're winning it in March or February. So for us to be doing that with the limited resources, we do have resources. Of course we do. Yeah. We one of the best managers in the world, one of the best teams, fan base, stadiums. But we're still maybe 10% behind what City can do. And for us to eke out that 10% and be up their arses for the past 3 or 4 years, I think that in itself has been unbelievable.
When I coach the kids, I say, listen, lads, I don't care if they score 5. We always play very attacking style football.
Well, what team is this? Your young lads team?
Yeah, well, my young fella's now gone, so he's now gone to League of Ireland, Kerry under 17s. Had a bit of a dodgy injury, knocked him out for about 4 or 5 games, but had a great season. We were last game actually this weekend, Saturday, up against Bray Wanderers. And I famously told him, I'll never forget it, we're in the cup final when I was playing up in Dublin 100 years ago, and it gets to a penalty shootout, and we're playing in the Carlisle grounds. And I'm taking the 5th penalty. My father is coaching us with another guy, Billy Wise, God rest him, he's gone now. And as I'm walking up, my son, like me, is a left footer. And all I hear is I'm walking away from the team with the ball towards the box. My father saying to the team, oh, never trust a left footer taking a penalty. And I'm walking, and I'm going, oh, yeah. Thanks, Dad. Dad actually played for Queen of the South in Scotland when he worked in Glen Eagles. I'll tell you a funny story. Dad played against Barcelona in front of 90,000 people in Hampden Park when he worked in the Glen Eagles. They came over and they did pre-season matches, and they play against Celtic and Rangers, obviously, or whoever, Hibs, maybe Aberdeen at the time.
Oh, but they always team, was it?
Yeah, well, they always played one game against the kitchens or the staff of the hotel because it was such a suction for Italians, Germans, Swiss. You know, they always had an amazing soccer team as a staff. So Dad played. He said, now, none of the 80, 90,000 were here to look at me. They were all looking there at the other guys. But he went on to play semi-pro with Queen of the South after that. His position, funny, stopper. There was no centre half. I was the stopper. If they got past the other defender, the ball might have got past me, but the player wasn't. Real hardcore player. So I'm walking up to take my bloody penalty. Cup final, 5th one. We score. We're home and hose. Never trust a left-footed kicker. Oh, I said, oh, for Christ's sake, that. Put the ball down. Oh, I said, I've never hit a crossbar so hard in my life. Couldn't bloody believe it. My young fella, thankfully, skipped a generation. He takes his penalties and he hasn't missed one yet with his left foot. So it's so
you lost that cup final.
We lost it. The other guys went up and scored there. I said, thanks, Dad. Like, imagine that.
Southgate moment, was it?
Jesus Christ almighty. But it's like it literally nearly cracked the crossbar and I couldn't have placed it better on the crossbar. And to this day, like I'm trying to think, I was 15 at the time. That's 33 years ago. I'm still going to bed at night. I've never trusted left-footed penalty. And when I saw Sean, my young fella, take his penalty, buried the first one into the back of net, I went, oh, jeez, thanks be to God. So he takes a lot of the penalties. But he was under 15s League of Ireland.
Confidence. That was a nice bit of confidence from your dad, wasn't it?
Yeah, absolutely. Way to go,
Maybe it was reverse psychology. Maybe it was reverse. It didn't work.
Yeah, but I tell you, the League of Ireland underage football now, I don't think we appreciate what an amazing job the FAI are doing at underage League of Ireland. Like, so when we played Shamrock Rovers there, and we lost 2-1 to the guys during the season, and I said to Sean coming home in the car, because he's like me, gutted when we lose a game. Now, I'm not coaching the League of Ireland squad. I was coaching the club level here in Kenmare and beforehand. But I said, Sean, you don't realise, like, Shamrock Rovers have an under-4 academy. I said, the guys you're playing with, 3 months ago, you were playing against them. I said, so that's where Kerry soccer is. There's only one game of football down in Kerry, and trust me, it ain't soccer. And so we're starting so far behind. But now we have 14s, we have 15s, 17s, and 19s. And next season, all going to plan, we're going to have a senior team in the League of Ireland Division 1, which is phenomenal. Give Kerry soccer 10 years. We've got some incredibly fit people down here because of the GA.
I have a bit of a classic history for you. My father-in-law is the only Kerry man to play for the Republic of Ireland after the war.
My God.
O'Connell, Anthony O'Connell,
Jesus.
Rovers legend, Bows legend, Dundalk, and he got 2 caps for Ireland against Spain and Czechoslovakia, I think it was.
Where in Kerry is he from?
Tralee.
Oh, where? Yeah.
O'Connell, yeah.
O'Connell, Jesus. But like
he was president of Bows in the 90s, Bohemians.
Wow. My God.
Yeah. And he's still alive. He's 81, and some stories. He was telling me about playing in the UEFA Cup in the 60s and playing in Belarus under the Soviet, getting off those propeller planes and all the fellas standing there with guns for Rovers. I think that famous Rovers side in the 60s. He won 3 cup finals with them. Yeah, a lot of. I should get him on the bloody podcast.
You should. That's a story in itself.
Yeah.
No, I have to be like. I'm going to suffer massively from withdrawal symptoms now because the standard of the soccer at League of Ireland underage is phenomenal. Will Clark is a guy, I don't know if you know him, he's doing a phenomenal job in the FAI. He's a great guy, and he's you can see the return. I know people knock Kenny. We talk about people knocking Klopp. I think Kenny's doing an amazing job. You can love him, you can hate him. I don't care. It's my own personal opinion. We're playing. We talk about Italian 90. We talk about 94. We talk about the Jackie Chartner. We're playing quite possibly the best style of football I've seen Ireland playing. We're not getting the results. We know we're not getting the results. I think we're very close to breaking through to being thereabouts again. And I think
you have to remember, Paul, the quality of player we had in the 80s and 90s. We had players playing for the top, like Liverpool, for United, for all the top teams.
Yeah.
We don't really have that now,
We don't. And I don't know, but I think what we're seeing now is an awful lot of young guys. Like when you look at Cathal Heffernan, for example, over there in AC Milan, the under-17s, he was up training with the senior team there last week or this week.
Yeah.
And you're seeing the caliber of young guys. There's Zeffi. You're seeing, like I can list off a few other guys that are playing over in Italy, that are only making a bit of a breakthrough, that are going to the good clubs over in the UK. Yeah. It might actually affect the League of Ireland senior level here, but it's brilliant for us nationally because these guys are getting, quality experience, quality game time, and it's only a matter of time. It's all in timing. You know yourself. We went through 30 years of drought. We had some horrible players in our day. Klopp thankfully got rid of a lot of them. We've had a drought with the Irish squad. It's only a matter of time that whatever manager, and I hope it is Kenny, because I really love the style of football that we're playing. We're pulling out results. I know we're losing stupid games. As I said, when I see the draw, I said, Mother God, we're the kind of team that could go out and beat France in Paris and then lose to bloody Gibraltar in Gibraltar.
I know, we've Holland, we've France, we've Greece and Gibraltar, I think.
Yeah. Like it's
nasty draw.
Yeah, it's a tough draw. That's why I said I think Australia and New Zealand will be getting a lot of more attention next year. But look, you just want to see. I don't understand. You see some players, I'm not going to play international level. There's nothing prouder. I say to my son, I would give both my legs for him to be able to put on the green jersey, or my other young fella to put on the green jersey in anything.
Yeah, at any level. At any level.
Yeah,
have that jersey, have that cap, or whatever you get in your head.
Absolutely.
And it is a cap, by the way, because the father-in-law has 2 of them. These are like old school cap. Yeah.
That's gas. Yeah, no, I give anything, and look, it's a dream. It's a dream, obviously, for my kids to be able to do something like that. And who knows? Hopefully, one day my playing days are gone. I don't think Klopp's going to be calling looking for me. Well, unless he wants me to go over and cook for them, do a bit of nutrition. I do a lot.
Hopefully, they're due to come over here for pre-season because they haven't been here in a long time.
In a while, absolutely, yeah. And I do a load of nutrition courses for a load of different clubs all around the country, and it's. The first thing I say is, listen, I'm no doctor, I'm no nutritionist, I know whatever. What I'm trying to show you is more so for the parents as well, because it's the parents that are cooking for the kids. I'm going to show you a couple of tricks of the trade here that's going to make your life so much easier. Like you roast off 2 chickens, for example, cook off a packet of pasta, mix it all together, leave it in the fridge. You don't need to worry about them for 3 days. Go eat the chicken and pasta, kid. So you can, and tiny little simple things like that. Teach a kid how to make an omelet. You'll never go hungry if you know how to make an omelet. So I go around to all these different clubs and I do all these different kind of nutritional demos and all that kind of stuff. And I love it. You get great crack out of it. It was funny when I was in hotels. I don't want to keep you too long, obviously, but when I was in hotels, okay. I had the All Blacks, the Springboks, the French, and the Scottish rugby team. And when they arrived into the hotel, I minded them for the 3 or 4 days.
We had what hotel was that, Jury's?
Fitzpatrick's Castle Hotel.
Oh.
In Dalkey. And we also had the Portuguese soccer team. So when the Portuguese soccer team, some people of our age might remember this, it was the time Couto, their captain, was banned from taking illegal substances. They only found out about it mid-air when they're flying from Portugal over to Ireland. So the media was all over the place, all over the hotel.
Yeah.
They arrived in, and Ronaldo wasn't on the scene, but Figo was. And you see the caliber of these players coming into the hotel, and I'm going, oh my God. And I've been working with their nutritionist for maybe 2 weeks beforehand to make sure we've got everything done. And it was all about timing. Everything was timing at these guys' level. We eat at 12:45. That's it. It was the same with the rugby guys. It must be 11:20 because we're here at 1:10 and all this kind of stuff. It was phenomenal. I look over to the bar and I see this guy sitting on his own in the bar and all the media frenzy around the whole team that were inside and everybody in there. I walk up to the guy and I went, oh my God. I said, what an absolute honor. What an honor. And he looks at me and he goes, why aren't you over there with the team? And I said, because none of them are Eusebio. I can't believe I'm talking to Eusebio. He took out this little picture of himself. Hero. Unbelievable. I mean, how would he have been a Ronaldo in his day? He was definitely in the top 5 players in the world.
He's up there. I mean, obviously, he's in the conversation. But maybe not with Pele, but you know what I mean? He's in the conversation.
Absolutely.
As one of the greatest.
He takes out his little picture of himself sitting in the fountain somewhere over in Portugal, signs it for me. I've got that framed up in the restaurant.
Wow.
Eusebio. Oh, God. Just looking at it. And I remember Dad always telling me about Eusebio. That's like, if it wasn't for Dad, I wouldn't have known who the hell he was. Saying, who's your man sitting at the bar counter? But there, Eusebio sitting at the counter. Unbelievable. So, yeah, so that's what I picked up from dealing with all the teams. It's what you eat. It's when you eat. It's how to prepare it. It's how to have it all done in advance. And that's what I do. I do a lot of these courses around with all these different clubs. So, yeah.
And I can tell you one thing about Liverpool. I know for a fact Liverpool have a nutritional, it's the actual like scientific, it's right down to nearly equations. Their breakfast is an equation. Eat equals MC squared. You know what I mean? It's like a bleeding equation. I did an interview last year. I did a few interviews with him. It's actually Thomas Gronemark. He's the Liverpool throwing coach, by the way.
Wow.
He was telling me the story that he was out with he's a Danish guy, and he's actually a bobsledder. Oh, he's a great story, this guy. But he's actually trains teams all over the world how to do the perfect throw-in. Wow. And he went in at Liverpool a few years ago when Liverpool had one of the worst percentage throw-ins. Klopp rang him on his phone. Someone gave him his number and rang him. He got a missed call from some German guy and he answers it. And it was Jurgen Klopp asked him to come off to Kirby. I think it was Melwood at the time. Come over for a few days just to do what he loved what he seen on YouTube or something, whatever. Yeah. But when he went over, he was thinking, and within a week or two, he literally turned Liverpool that season, because you can see it in graphs and stuff, something like 15-20% of throw-ins. Because remember, a throw-in is like a free kick. And you do see some amateur or low-level teams throwing the ball, they give the ball away, or they give the wrong throw-in, or they play it back to the keeper, or they go forward. Most of Liverpool's throw-ins go straight to the player and to the feet, and they hold possession. It's just look at it. It's unbelievable. It was a great interview. I think he's been on 3 times. He's a lovely fella, Thomas Gronemark. And he was telling me, though, when Kirby opened the new training ground, the brand new AXA training ground, he went in, and as he's there for a few days, he's with Liverpool, and they give him a top, and he goes training with them, and sometimes goes on tour with them to Portugal, or wherever they go, pre-season. Yeah. He's telling me the food at Kirby is like a 6-star hotel. It is literally different level.
Crikey.
You know what I mean? It's Salt Bay. Salt Bay.
But it has to be, because again, we talked about it earlier about the psychology of sport. Yeah. I mean, if you've got your top players, and I see, as I said, look, I'm no nutritionist, but I see nutritionists telling players, you have to eat this. And they're going, it's fucking rotten. I don't want to eat that. And I'm convinced. So if you tell me, I don't think a little bit of butter, I don't think a little bit of olive oil, I don't think a little bit of lemon juice is going to put a kid off his game. I don't think it's going to affect their performance. But if you turn around and say, listen, we need to eat this amount, we need it at this time, and they go, Jesus, tastes great, no problems. No, I remember I saw a tweet, Wayne Rooney put out going, oh my God, eting pasta at 10 o'clock in the morning, mother of God. And some fella said, if I was being paid 300 grand a week, I'd eat dog shit. You know? Good point.
Well, I don't know about that, but you know what I mean.
But it's so important. And like the one thing I say is, I know that a lot of people that watch the podcast or listen to it, the one thing I say is that a lot of parents have kids that train really hard and that are doing everything right and seem really fit. Yeah. But if you can't finish the last 10, 15 minutes of the game as strong as you started the first 10, 15 minutes of the game, it's not your fitness, it's your energy levels, your nutrition is wrong, and it's basically fuel. You don't have enough fuel in the tank to see you through to the end of the 90 minutes. And that's what I get as many kids into. Yeah, it takes probably 2 weeks to get into a system of eating the food because they're not eating enough calories. You see kids running around, especially young kids like that, you know, boys and girls that are, because the good kids and the bad kids, doesn't matter. They're on the school football team, they're on the basketball team, they're on the soccer team, they're on the whatever team. These guys are running around 3-4 hours, you know, a day. And if they're only having, you know, a bowl of Rice Krispies in the morning and maybe a sandwich at lunch, absolutely. Of course, they have no energy to see the game out. So nutrition for me is probably the single most important thing in sport to be at an elite level. It's you got to get it right.
And I think Arsene Wenger, when he came in at Arsenal from Grand Passat in Japan, they must have been doing it in the J League or whatever. I think he was one of the first professional managers to come in and change diets and change psychology. If you look back in the 90s, he was one of the first, you know, foreign managers to come in and changed everything. I think I was listening to a documentary years ago. I think it was Tony Adams or maybe like saying when your man came in, he was near the tail end of his career anyway, but he just blown away with all these ideas. Like, what? These guys used to go out for a pint before the game. You know what I mean? In the 80s. Or maybe not before the game, but definitely after the game.
I'd say there was a few that had them before the game as well.
I won't mention the names. I know 2 or 3 actually.
Same as we get in trouble. But like, that's not too long ago, Dave. That's 15, 20 years ago when that was what was going on. Especially straight after the game.
Changed. I mean, the rugby, I don't know if you follow Irish rugby.
I do, yeah.
Rugby, I mean, look what they've done with the rugby set up with Ireland, with Leinster, with Munster, with Connacht and all. That has become so professional now. And say the last 10 years, it's unrecognizable.
Yeah, it's
similar to football.
We had the Springboks in. 2 stories of the Springboks. Jules van der Westhuizen was their captain. And we had them in a private room just off the restaurant where the whole team would come in and we had all the food lined up for them, buffet wise and all that kind of stuff. And I had
big lads.
Huge lads. And it was funny when they arrived, you know, they're not that big until they took off their tops and put on the jerseys. And I went, mother of God. But their nutritionist was a guy called Phil Mack. And he was hounding me for about a month beforehand. And that was all. It was him that got me into the concept of timing of food before we eat, before we train, all that kind of stuff. Anyway, we're there and we're in the private room. We got all the buffet lined up for the guys. Next minute, one of the guys does like this, and like that's just like, you know, rule number 1. You just don't do to one of the waiters. But look, we were professional enough to turn a blind eye to it. It's the Springboks.
Garçon, you know.
Keeping the finger. Next minute, Jules van der Westhuizen stands up and goes, "Everybody stop." And I'm going, okay. And he goes, "You apologize to him." And I went, I said, "Listen, Juice, don't worry about it, mate." I said, it's fine. Look, he's just, we'll get down. No.
Yeah.
Apologize
Discipline.
Oh, unbelievable. So your man knew straight away. This is the captain telling another Springbok player, apologize to him now. So he turns around to him, he goes up and he says, sorry. He said, "Paul, you tell all your staff, your team, that when they're done, they go away." He's clearing the entire room. And I went, I said, "Look, there's 30 of you, you know, 40 of you." And I said, "No." And he said, No, I'm not asking. I'm telling him he's cleaning up this entire room. I was going, mother of God. So later, Juice turns around to me. It was about 3 or 4 hours later. I said, "Listen, that was a big." He says, "My father owns a restaurant, Paul, so I know." And I went, holy mother of God. And the other story of the box is I'm in the kitchen and we were told under no circumstances, roast the sirloin of beef off and then take the fat off so they don't get any of the fat. And I'm in the kitchen, I'm there with the chef and he's carving off the meat. Next to as if the lights went out. Ollie LaRue walks in, one of the biggest props ever for the box arrives in. "Give me the fat." And I went,
I do like the fat myself.
help yourself, buddy. And he goes, he starts eating the fat. And next minute, Ollie, obviously he was doing it all the time. He said, get out. He gave me his jersey. I was his jersey upstairs for giving him the fat. Because they weren't allowed to eat the beef.
I do like the fat. I do like the
Yeah.
fat. I do like the steak. Well, wait, actually, before we go, obviously, Treyvaud's the restaurant and stuff. So food is your love, I suppose. Food and football and sport and life, I suppose. Basically, you do love life. You're a type of person that seems to love life.
Absolutely.
What all the possibilities ahead of me? What's going to happen next? Who knows what's going to happen with you, Paul? You're going to have your own show. Maybe not in RTE, but maybe in America. You never know.
Who knows? Well, I always say when it's time to me to get into my coffin, I don't want to have a pretty face. That's going to be an issue anyway, but I don't want to have a pretty face. I don't want to be looking all, I want to be looking as if I was bounced off every rock in life, that I lived it, I fought it, I was out there having the crack. There's nothing more than I love being with my mates, having the crack, arguing like madmen with each other over stupid things, having a few pints, having a bit of crack, discussing Liverpool, Arsenal, United, whatever. What's next? Who knows? Who knows? I do a lot of consultancy as well for other bars and restaurants and small hotels. I'm really enjoying that. I love helping the people that are under a bit of pressure, so I'm doing a lot of that at the moment. The restaurant obviously keeps me very, very busy. The TV show, it's going to go one of two ways. In America, it goes one of two ways. It'll either work or it won't. And if it works, it'll work very well. And if it doesn't, it'll just be plodding around in the background. It'll be on a couple of streamers. So the ultimate dream is that these series work enough for this distribution company to say, we want your other two series. Now I have 4 series. Now I hope I'd be considered, okay, this guy's actually, he's a TV presenter as well. Like he's got this going on. Yeah. And I hope I get no support from Tourism Ireland, Fáilte Ireland. As I said, maybe I'm not on the click, maybe I'm too controversial. I don't know why, but such is it. But if I get the right person to see me over in the States, I won't need any support from Tourism Ireland or Fáilte Ireland.
You mean like an agent or something?
I think somebody to turn around and just go, that's the guy I want promoting my brand. Yeah. That's the guy.
You got to be out there. But as I say, if Janssen Media put your stuff out there, someone's going to see it and go,
absolutely,
that guy or whatever. That's the way it works. Sometimes it's look. Sometimes it's simple as just look. The right person seeing it at the right moment. Sometimes.
I remember I heard the guy turn around saying, he said 50 years work for one night of overnight success. So all I tell my kids, whether it be my own kids or whether the kids that I'm coaching, whatever, say, I can guarantee you one thing. If you quit, you have no chance of succeeding. But if you keep at it and you keep at it, you might never succeed, but you still have a chance. So that's the kind of philosophy and the mentality.
That's your motto.
Yeah, like what's the point in quitting? I've never seen a winner quit. I've never seen a statue put up to a critic. I've never seen anybody who, lambaste other people continuously and puts them. I've never seen them. People talk fondly about, you don't be a man, puts everybody down. I never hear that. I love the guys who battle and fight. They might never make it, but they're out there in the arena and they're trying. And I love people like that.
And that's exactly, we leave it on this. That was exactly what Darwin Núñez did last night. He was frustrated in the first half. He was getting battered all over the place. He wasn't even controlling the ball some of the time. He was running in. I've seen him running, nearly putting his hand on his head when someone wouldn't play him in. And he was making the right runs at the right time. It was the wrong ball. And then near the end, lovely. What a ball from Bobby, by the way. And then the finish from Darwin. I was absolute. But that's your motto there. Keep trying, and the goal will come. Bang.
Absolutely. Keep going. Create the chances. If you're not creating the chances, you've no chance of scoring. And even if you're 5-0 down, you still, there's a brilliant match. Gareth Bale playing for Wales. I can't remember, it was a World Cup qualifier or a Euros qualifier. And they were 2-0 down with 2 minutes to go. No chance of winning. And I tell my kids about Gareth Bale's performance because in the last 5 minutes, he still played like they were 10-0 up. Yeah. And I'm going, that's why he's Gareth Bale. It's because it doesn't matter. It's professional level, elite level, or Sunday League level, or under 4 Z level. It doesn't matter. You keep going till the end of the whistle because you just might get that pass. You just might get that goal. You just might surprise yourself. And it's about development. It's about, building your confidence. It's about going home going, Mom, guess what I did? I did this pass. I guarantee you Núñez rang his family or rang his, guess what I'm after doing? I've done it. I've scored my goal. Like Harvey, I've got my Champions League goal. When I saw him there with the fingers crossed,
Salah was hugging him, we were all there behind him like that.
Yeah, we were all there going, Jesus. And I was going, I think he was offside. You see, and my mate was going, but look at the number 2. I said, oh yeah, I didn't even look at him keeping them all onside. I just presumed I was looking at this guy. I mean, if you try, if you battle, if you fight, you'll eventually get what you deserve. And that's what I love about Liverpool. We will eventually get what we deserve. And I love the fans that stick with us through thick and thin. I love the fans. Of course, we turn around, I wish we should have this and blah, blah, blah. But the genuine fan, I'll be there next Saturday to watch it, boys. I don't care. I'll be up at 6:30 in the morning to watch it. I'll travel to the end of the world to watch it because I'm a Liverpool fan. I'm not a TikTok fan. I'm a true out-and-out fan.
TikTok boy.
TikTok boy. And that's what I think. Klopp has done so much we can never underestimate. And anytime I see a Klopp out, it's just mute on Twitter.
Yeah,
just
ridiculous. No,
you have no idea what you're talking about.
Exactly. I think we leave it there. We're
Thanks,
over
Dave.
an hour in. I've really
Wow.
enjoyed that. Paul Treyvaud, TV personality, author, Liverpool fan, chef. I mean, what else? Anything can happen. I don't know where I'll see you next. I could see you anywhere. You could be in Hollywood. Who knows? You could be beside Tom Cruise in the new movie that's coming out in about 2 years' time. Who knows? Your world is your oyster, my friend. Thank you very much for coming on.
Really appreciate it.
The restaurant, of course. Good luck with all your shows, new books you have coming out. Whatever you do, I'm sure it will be an absolute success. And you'll never walk alone. And good luck to the Reds on Sunday. And I hope they beat City. Let's go. Cheers.